Hi, welcome back to Waxing On, Episode 2, Ozzy Osborne, and we're looking at another phase of Ozzy. Episode 1, we talked about the first solo album. Now we're moving up into the 1990s. Now this album actually came out in 1995, Ozzmosis. Early 90s, Ozzy been on heavy load to touring. He was dealing with a lot of demons. I mean, he had a lot of addiction at the time. He was dealing with that, and he ended up diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. So he pulled off the road. He didn't really tell people the diagnosis. He just kind of pulled back on what he was doing and basically went into retirement. Now, turns out he was misdiagnosed, and they found out that wasn't the case. And he was given the okay to go back on the road and do it. He thought, boy, here's a whole second chance, a chance to get out there, do things again, but do things my way. Now, I just have a couple of quotes. I'm just going to read you from the Ozzmosis flyer here. He said, I've been trying to please everyone, deal with the perceptions that people had about me. It was going to be a problem. He said, when you consider I've spent 22 years drunk and getting sober, the world isn't easy. So he's dealing with his addiction, trying to get back out. This album was when he started to get himself cleaned up and get a whole other take on things. He said he wanted, and I'm going to clean this up a bit from what Ozzy had then, he wanted to get away from the idea of the fangs and devil stuff. So yeah, all the kind of persona he had created earlier, he's trying to change that up a little bit at this stage of the game. And this album has a little different feel, maybe because of that. It's a second chance, a second coming out, wanting to shed some of those old perceptions of, what Ozzy was all about. Now, the band has changed up. I mean, by this time, unfortunately, Randy Rhoads has passed away, so Zakk Wylde is playing guitar for him. And again, another great guitar player in there. We've got Geezer Butler on bass, Dean Castronovo on drums, and Rick Wakeman actually makes a couple of appearances on this album, playing some keyboard parts on two songs called Perry Mason and I Just Want You. So that was kind of fun having another guest coming in as well. Now, this one, again, another CD, so we've got a little CD package here. Lots of photos. We have the words for all of our songs. Yeah, you want to sing along? There you go. They're all there. We've got a little bit of a story about his forced early retirement and how he came back afterwards. Like I say, once they found out the diagnosis was not correct, and he came back into it and how his attitude had changed on what he wanted to do when he came back on this round. So I picked this album only because it's like a second phase. We started out Monday with the first solo album. We had this early retirement, coming back with a second chance. This is what he was producing in that second round. Now, I don't know if many of these songs got a lot of airplay, because by this point in time, you're not going to get airplay on AM radio. You're getting it on FM, but even some of those, I don't recall them playing a lot of these kind of tunes like I did on the first one with Mr. Crowley and Crazy Train, things like that. They got a little more airplay. But anyways, here's the tunes we've got on here, and some of them may sound very familiar to you. We got Perry Mason. We've got a song called I Just Want You, Ghost Behind My Eyes, Thunder Underground, See You on the Other Side, Tomorrow, Denial, My Little Man, My Jekyll Doesn't Hide, Old LA Tonight. Now, since this is a DVD reissue, I've got a couple of bonus tracks for you. And they are Whole World's Fallen Down and Amy. Now, this album's produced by Michael Breinhorn, except for one of the couple of songs here. The Amy one, produced by Michael Wagoner. Now, it was kind of confusing. If you want to go on internet, read the story about this album. I mean, they started out with one producer, then the record company decided they wanted a whole different sound of it. They brought in another producer. I think it was very confusing for the artists in there, Because Ozzy said some days he'd be singing like for hours and hours. The guy said, "Oh, your voice is tired, you know, maybe we should quit for the day." He said, "You know, I know what's going to happen. We're going to come back tomorrow, and he's going to say, 'You don't sound the same as yesterday. We got to do it all over again.'" So there was a lot of kind of crazy things going on into the recording of this, even though they started out with those good intentions of, you know, a clean slate. Let's start out and see what we can do with something new. But if you want to read that, that's interesting stuff, that kind of background as well. But a lot of it, just go to the discography, pull this one up. You'll find there's a whole page about the album. Again, available on the digital format, available online. Mine's a DVD. I don't know at this stage of the game, too, what the LP situation was. I mean, I don't know if they were still producing them now. I've kind of lost track of the years, because by the time I quit buying them and moved to cassettes and moved to DVDs, I kind of lost track of where LPs were at. But you might still find a vinyl copy, or maybe there's been a vinyl reissue. If not, DVD be the way to go. This one was called Ozzmosis. And again, just that second stage of Ozzy's career. Week 3, or day 3, coming up on Friday. We're going to look at an album that kind of pulls a lot of things together, but it's a very interesting album, and there's a lot of unreleased material and some very different music, things that you maybe wouldn't expect from Ozzy. So stick around for that. Check us out on Friday. Till then, everybody take care. Stay safe. Thanks for stopping by.